Let's kick it off, Betty.
Woohoo! Let's go. Good to have you back, Medic. I had to cast with the other casters last
They're really good casters.
It was an experience, I'll tell you that. But we're in store, rather, for Vitality versus Rogue. The analyst desk summed up nicely, which is that whatever your expectations are, just go ahead and just chuck them out the window. You don't need them. None of that. Medic talked a lot about how there are a wide array of different possibilities when it comes to playoffs.
Didn't really say much, I'll be honest. I mean, I went through it and I was like,
this could happen, this could happen, this could happen.
I've got this really cool 6-way tie scenario I could talk you through.
I thought it was a 7-way tie. There's a 0.018 chance.
That's tiebreakers. And also that's scenarios rather than chance.
Oh, you're right.
Because it's not a probability. We just do 50-50 odds for all of the games remaining and then we see what scenarios we've got. But what I can tell you is Vitality cannot lock with a win here. However, a win would be really good for them because they have a 0-2 record versus Excel. They have a 0-2 record versus Fnatic. The only team out of that sort of clump that they have a good head-to-head versus is Origin. And we all know Origin don't make playoffs in summer anyway. True. So it's in the script.
Yes, it is in the script. And so what we're basically trying to say is winning is important, losing not good. Not good.
That is true. And if Rogue win, they lock top 2.
Yeah, so a lot of stakes on the line. We're going to be jumping into draft, ready for our first 15 games this weekend. Woo! If you weren't aware, it is the Super Week. 3 days of games. Let's start off with our first one as we jump into the boogie music for Champion Select.
Is that what this is called?
Boogie music. Well, that's what I'm calling it.
I mean, it's a good name. It's a good name.
Doesn't it make you kind of want to boogie?
Yeah.
You know?
I was in the car to shoot the other day, and I got the music that plays for the player intros as part of my Discover Weekly.
Oh!
And it finished, and I went, and I was like, nope, don't say jump into Summer Swift. Let's jump on into this draft, though. The Azir gets removed here by Team Vitality. Ezreal taken away from comp. Syndra then removed, still really strong on 10-15.
Yeah, it was fascinating. Syndra's a really interesting pick to me because there was this weekend where, Medic, you and I were tasking. I'm like, where's Syndra gone? And then all of a sudden she came back. It's like, oh, there she is. Teams just kind of forgot about her. But it seems that certain teams, you kind of have to respect that Syndra. And in Larssen's hands, you definitely do not want to give him that champion. So it seems like Vitality putting a lot of focus on Larssen, whereas Rogue taking a lot of comfort picks away from comp down in the bot side of the map. Still a number of things up and available. Things like the Orianna, still very strong on the current patch. Twisted Fate kind of dropped in priority pretty significantly after the nerfs. That happened on patch 10-15. And want to remind everyone at home we are still on 10-15. And Lilia should also be enabled.
Yes, well, she is enabled. Yes. We didn't see her that much in the NLC, which I cast this week as well. I haven't seen her that much in the regional leagues, but there is a possibility she gets locked in. There's the Orianna that you just mentioned, Vedius banned away. The Senna removed from Hans Summer's hands.
So Caitlyn, I think, rises in priority. Yeah, there's the hover right now. It is something that we saw a fair amount of last week, and that's going to be locked in with both Ezreal and Senna taken off the board. Ooh. Wow, and the immediate Jhin response from Hans Summer here. Oh, of course, Volibear still up and available, so I think Rogue very happy with what they've gotten right now. I'm surprised by the Jhin response. Like, this was something that we obviously saw from Rekkles as a bit of a kind of ode to his comfort on the champion, success he's had in the past, but I haven't heard about Jhin being a common answer to the Caitlyn, so I'm excited to see how this one plays out. The Morgana going to be paired up with the Caitlyn as well, gives you that inevitably strong 2 versus 2 in the bot lane, and I wonder if Rogue will go for something like the Karma, which can act as a pretty solid counter to it.
Yeah, I think Karma's just really good for gaining lane priority as well, but it is always difficult into a Caitlyn Morgana. I have had a quick mosey. Hans Summer, only 11 Jhin games over his entire career. So I'm a little bit shocked by it. I think he's at 6-5 over those 11 games. So he's still win record overall. And there is the Corki for Larssen in the mid lane. It means that Rogue now have the opportunity in the second ban phase to get rid of some of those mid laners if they want. They can try and pinch Milica's pool just a little bit.
So Rogue do have pretty solid poke right now. Their siege is very strong with Jhin and Corki already in the roster, and their primary damage dealers are kind of like want to be sitting in the back line, right? So now you're looking at Rogue's comp. How are they going to use this Volibear? Volibear is a very powerful early game duelist. He kind of scales relatively well in the context if he just becomes a meat shield, but his damage falls off pretty dramatically, and it can be quite challenging to get onto those targets. So I wonder if we're going to see Finn on a carry. One of the big question marks we had last week was, will the Aurelia come back? The Aurelia received a couple of nice buffs on 10-15, and Finn is known for his Aurelia play, with champions like Renekton being banned off the board. Maybe there is an opportunity for him to go for that champion, but the question is, does it make sense in the context of the comp that they're going for?
And when you talk about a backline that just wants to stand off, Illaoi is also a champion that jumps to mind. If the enemy is trying to dive in onto you, trying to get on towards your backline
against
carries.
the Caitlyn,
yeah,
though.
I'm not I listened to Euphoria this morning. I know Fosk and Dracos love the Illaoi pick. We have seen it from Finn in the past, even if it wasn't successful. And into a Caitlyn, as you say, probably not the best pick in the world.
I mean, I respect it.
Into a Sett as well, actually, because you ult and the Sett's just like, nah, mate. Tentacles go over there, please.
Yes, I don't think an Illaoi would make a huge amount of sense here. I would expect the support right now. Bard is still open. They could consider it, but the problem with Bard is you typically want to roam around the map, you know, try and get involved everywhere else that isn't bot lane. Wow, they're actually saving their support for the final pick. Okay, so they're just going to blind pick the Ornn. A lot of blind picks coming out from Rogue. The blind in the mid lane, the blind in the bot lane. Of course, they did blind Volibear, but that's probably one of the safest blinds. I think right now the only thing that I'm a little confused about is how they're going to utilize this Volibear in the early game. I feel like that they're not going to get a huge amount of value out of it. They could play through top, but when you have Trundle Sett, I think that's a very difficult 2 versus 2 to win against. And I've been told that Twisted Fate is a very strong matchup into Corki as well. And I think it also makes a lot of sense when you have a Kate Morg too. Like, already you're looking at this draft and you're saying, okay, Vitality want to play through bot side. They want to get that tower early. They want to get this snowball rolling. And I think that this support pick is going to be a really big deal.
Yuumi Jhin.
This draft from Rogue has surprised me a little bit.
So Yuumi was slightly changed on 10.
Just small buff, a small buff.
It's like a tiny buff, but the mana restore on her
but also
actually went down.
We also did see her last week, paired up with Ezreal a fair amount. And like, I think that there are certain combinations where this can make sense. And I think that Volibear Yuumi, as far as combos go, connect as a pretty solid follow-up engager as a tool, you know. But like, Yuumi Jhin as a bot lane, I'm very unfamiliar with. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they make this one work.
I totally agree.
My biggest concern is this is a diveable bot lane. Right, Caitlyn Morg, when you pair that up with a Twisted Fate as well, Team Vitality's whole game plan is attack that bot lane, attack it early, set up Comp and Labrov for success, because when you get these guys going, they really know how to carry games. So, yeah, I'm curious as to how Rogue are going to make this composition work. I think it's a difficult one. We'll see how things pan out as we start off our Super Week.
And on to Summoner's Rift we go for the first game of 15 over the next 3 days. And I'm so happy to be back. I missed casting last week.
I'm ready, Medic. It's good to be here with you. Let's have a look at some of these matchups, maybe some of the rune itemizations that we've got. We do have the Fleet Footwork on top of the Jhin, so he's going to have a little bit more sustain against the Caitlyn lane, which I think is very viable, that extra movement speed. Jhin can already be quite the speedy boy. I think that pairing that up...
The fast.
Yes, the fast, indeed. I love that video. I can't remember who made it, but it's very good.
I remember playing Earth Jhin, it's just like the fast everywhere, let's go.
You've also got the same thing on the Caitlyn. I think that this is also very common. When you are very aggressive in lane, you want to try and, you know, it's very easy to stack up the Fleet Footwork as well and keep your health nice and high, I suppose. Yeah.
Especially into a lane with a Jhin Yuumi where you can get accidentally poked with, you know, the Jhin Q, you can get poked with a prowling projectile. Like, Morgana gives you some protection from that, but you don't really want to be using the black shield to mitigate magic damage. You want to use it to mitigate CC.
That's very true. And one of the advantages of pairing a Jhin with a Yuumi means that he can actually run the cleanse. Yep. So you still have the heal, the exhaust also coming through on the Yuumi, but he's going to have that safety in the event that he does get hit by a binding. Labrov and Comp, as we kind of expected in this 2 versus 2, already have a very powerful push, and you can see that VandeR and Hansummer being forced to play a little bit on the back foot. Meanwhile, on the mid lane, it looks like that Corki has gotten that early push, and we've been seeing a lot more of this lethal tempo Corki. I think it's a really cool adaptation because we've seen a wide array of different rune choices for Corki over the years, and this is like the most recent addition that I think gives you a lot of power, especially when you get that proc.
Yeah, just getting all those extra auto attacks off can do so much work for Corki in the mid lane. Early doors, the junglers seem to just be doing clears of their respective sides. Both started on the top side of the map. It looks like Skeanz took Gromp alongside his blue and now is working his way towards red, whereas Inspired went straight from his red buff down towards this bottom side, perhaps anticipating an early dive towards the Rogue bot lane, because of course, we said the Vitality comp, just by looking at it, you know they want to try and get Caitlyn and Morgana ahead.
Yeah, I think that It makes a lot of sense for Skeanz to path towards bot, largely because he can invade enemy jungle, but also he can play for that bot Scuttle Crab as well. And I think that Inspired's path initially may look to try and cover, but I think his primary goal is to mitigate the number of camps that could potentially be stolen here. I think this is pretty dangerous from Inspired to actually try and contest this Scuttle Crab. Okay, this makes a little bit more sense. He's just going to hover around mid lane for now.
Yeah, it's going to be... here's the gank as the pillar goes out onto Larssen. He's going to just Valkyrie away. We'll notice that Hun Summer has used his cleanse in the bottom lane already. As Comp running the teleport can just look for a push into a quick recall. Of course, you want to try and get those cheetah recalls off where you don't lose too many minions. You get back without burning your TP. But when you have a lane that's constantly pushing up like this, using your summoner spells can just give you that little bit of an advantage. You know, you get an early pickaxe, you get an early BF sword, and you get back into the lane when the Jhin hasn't been able to recall and get any items.
For now, though, they're just going to continue with their oppression. You can see that 3 lanes pushing in favor of Vitality. Inspired just going to come top. Excuse me. Help Finn clear out this wave, look for a quick reset, and he may very well actually be able to get a cheetah recall off here, as you were just talking about it, Medic. And notice how Inspired walks the top wave in as well to make sure that no freeze is set up by Cabochard. This means that Finn doesn't have to spend his teleport, and he can just walk back into lane. So good coordination there between jungle and top, but this also gave Skeanz a window to actually steal away some of the camps, and he's going to steal away a bunch of raptors, and now he can go back into his jungle, and all of it is alive for him to clear through as well. So things pretty neutral in this early game, but Vitality getting these small advantages in some of the lanes where they do have pressure pretty much all across the map.
You can see just a little bit of a CS lead in the top lane, a little bit in that bottom lane as well. We'll notice that Milica has just recalled to get himself the Catalyst of the Aeons. He's now burnt his teleport into the mid lane as well. But, of course, Twisted Fate has a little bit more global pressure when we get towards that level 6 than the Corki will. So that first Destiny, when they know Larssen's teleport is down, could be really impactful. Inspired coming down towards the bottom lane, just going to get some vision in the pit to make sure that Trundle can't steal it away as Skeanz goes for his first recall of the game and will probably pick himself up that Skirmishes Saber and a pair of boots.
And right now, Medic, we're just looking at those levels. Level 6 for Milica, you know, you briefly mentioned it before, the bot lane play. That's what we want to keep our eyes on, and so we're just keeping our eyes on these levels, some of these itemizations, these early backs, as you mentioned, very important. And the fact that both top laners also have their TPs could mean that we're in for all kinds of action down towards the bot side of the map. And it's just all about this level 6. Now, we are still a little bit away from that level 6 mark. And I imagine that Caitlyn, yes, exactly. Yes. Go back to base, spend that money, get the BF sword. And so just in time... Hang on, I'm looking at Cabochard because his recall just got interrupted there. He wants to go back to base as quickly as possible. Caitlyn's going to TP back into bot as well. And this is where things are going to... This is going to be a very defining factor for the game, Eric, because I think that when we kind of look at ease of execution when it comes to the later, Rogue's comp, very straightforward. Often, I would say quite a traditional Rogue comp when it's very front to back, you know, you have a strong front line. It's very easy for your character to just kind of play behind them. You have pretty good scaling, especially with the Yuumi in the late game as well. Whereas Vitality have so much more agency in the early game to be able to play for these plates, get these early objectives. So whether or not these early plays can happen is very important for Vitality in the context of their comp.
And you can actually see here the threat of Milica at 6. The recall timing from Hun Summer means that they get the Dragon, and Vitality also get a couple of plates in the bottom lane, giving Comp about a 600, 700 gold lead, which is great for Vitality. As you said, even in pick and ban, when Vitality succeed, it tends to be because Comp is in a good position and Comp can carry the game as it goes on. For now, it's about a 900 gold lead, and Rogue are just being put a little bit behind in the early game. They have been pretty consistently good early on in most of the games across this split, but this one, they are just faltering a tad.
I mean, you heard Quickshot talking about it on the analyst desk. Rogue actually have some of the best early game stats in the entire league. Like their ability to gain huge gold advantages, the number of kills that they find, which is why I was quite surprised by this draft, because when you run something like a Volibear, typically what you expect is a very easy lane to play around, but I don't think Rogue have that. So I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with those stats this game. Of course, something that they are still very good at is reading plays, responding to them, carrying them as well. So if their expectation is the Vitality is going to invest all these resources bot lane, then if they're in a great position to counter, then that could be the gold swing or the momentum swing that they need to be able to get to the point where they are at these big 2-item spikes. So we'll have to see no use of the Twisted Fate ultimate just yet. Pretty favorable trade for Cabochard in the top lane.
Yeah. And he's continued just to keep that CS lead just a little bit ahead. You know it's only 5 or 6, 7 or 8, but when you get these little bits of harass down, you can force Finn back. The Haymaker gives a tiny bit of a shield, but Finn with the grasp will heal himself up a little bit.
I just think it's very cool that Finn read Cabochard's E, so he used his Bellows Breath to dodge the E from Cabo, and then Cabo read the charge from Finn, so he then used his W's to use the shield to block it. So like a bunch of cool stuff there from both top laners, just small interactions.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun to watch, right? Because
I would have missed everything. I would have been like, oh, I'm knocked up now. Oh, I'm under the tower. Whoops, my bad.
And that's why you like Nocturne, right? Because most
it's just push
arm is point and click, his E is point and
Correct.
click.
Accurate.
His right click is point and click.
Fun fact, guys, it's very easy to get to Diamond if you simplify the game.
I think that's more meaningful than you believe it was.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you find something that's easy to play and you get very good at it.
Yep.
And that's why I felt personally attacked when Riot kept nerfing Nocturne mid. It was like, let's get this guy out of Diamond.
I might have now started buffing Rakan, so I'm in a very good spot. Okay, TP used up here in the top lane as Inspired has started off the Rift Herald. You can see the Corki's able to get there quicker. Larssen on his way towards the Rift Herald, and Finn coming down from the top side. But here's the Destiny. They're looking to take this fight. Inspired does still have the ultimate. The Stormbringer available. The Call of the Forge got used as well, but the Showstopper will block him against the wall. Milica goes in, tries to get the stun card. Inspired gets a bunch of health off his ulti, and Cabochard has to flash away down towards the bottom side. Skeanz fighting against Larssen. He's actually going to be in a 2v1 here in just a second as Larssen Valkyrie's forward. Has that blue buff to keep the mana ticking over, and Skeanz will just be forced away. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, there was a little bit of a trade, but not too much burnt on either side.
So a lot of summoner spells burnt. The Rift Herald doesn't go down, and no first blood drops yet. It was Rogue that initiated that Rift Herald, and they thought that they were in a position to secure it because Larssen was in had the priority in mid, so could faster rotate, and Finn had his ultimate as well. But because of Milica's use of the ulti to be able to fast rotate, that meant they were able to challenge, and Vitality stopped this from going down. So the fact that nobody got that objective in the end, like, you know, no real advantage gained either side. I think the real pro here for Rogue is that Milica doesn't have his ultimate, which then can be used towards the bot side of the map. So this Caitlyn Jhin matchup still staying relatively even, and even though Summer is behind, the deficit isn't so dramatic that it's something Rogue need to be too concerned about right now.
We haven't been able to snowball that Caitlyn out of control as of yet. Milica just going to get forced back here by Finn in the middle lane. We saw Larssen moving up towards top because of where the wave state was after that last Rift Herald fight, which is why the Ornn is now mid and the Corki is now top lane. Larssen will back away as Inspired starts up the Rift Herald. There is a discrepancy in TP timings here for the mid laners, meaning that Larssen can back and will have his TP if he wants to join this, but Inspired just wanted to spar with the Rift Herald, wasn't really willing to take it down. Yeah,
it looks like he didn't want to commit, and the other thing he had to be careful of was Comp and Labrov just reset. So he was worried, where could they be, where are they playing for, and now they're on their way up towards the top side of the map. They're going to look to secure this objective, and this is where Vitality can really get the ball rolling. I want them to be careful, though, because I think that the best play for Vitality to do is actually almost immediately rotate to Drake. One of the great advantages of Caitlyn is because she's so powerful in the early game is that you can secure so many early Drakes that you can very quickly set yourself up for the 4 Drake win condition, and any kind of scaling comp gets pressured into these fights that they don't necessarily want to take. But it looks like Vitality are not going to do that. They're actually just going to commit towards the top side. They want to try and secure this early plating, try and funnel more gold into the Caitlyn, which is fine, but that 4 Drake win condition is now less of a threat that Rogue have to be worried about.
Yeah, keeping Rogue on that clock is so vital in a game like this for Vitality. And what I do like is that they gave Comp the Rift Herald. It makes it so much easier for him to make sure that he secures the plates.
Doing the Drake. They started it and then they backed off. I thought that Inspired would actually do it in that window because he had information on where Comp was.
That is a little surprising.
Interesting.
Maybe they were hoping Comp would overextend in the top lane and they could catch him out, but now we see the rotation coming out from Vitality. They get a plate in the top lane on towards that Caitlyn. She's now almost got, well, she's got the Kerchi's shards alongside the BF sword.
And look, they're just going to send the Caitlyn back bot lane. And so what now they can do is they can cape bot, hit the tower a couple times because you're playing against an Ornn and you're going to be into the Ornn before Rogue can respond. Yep. You then take the tower, you drop it, take the tower, and because Caitlyn's dropped it, she's guaranteed the goal, and then you go take the Drake.
Yep.
Vitality's going to get everything.
That's great for them.
I mean, I'm just surprised.
You predicted it about 30 seconds too early, and it only happened because Rogue didn't do the thing that they should have done in the situation. But Vedius,
yes.
Predictius, good job. Well done, my man.
So TP's also going to come in from TF so that he's not behind the Corki. He's been able to spend that gold. You can see he's got the boots upgrade and already has the Rod of Ages at 4 stacks now. Comp is going to push this in. Labrov is going to be here as well. But now the Jhin is making his way down. No teleport available on Finn. And he's going to... Yeah, there's no way. I'm sure Rogue will not contest this.
Just maybe take a second off predicting.
A lot of things are confusing me. Well, the thing about Rogue is like they're very like predictable in a sense, in the sense that like they almost play a very standard style, kind of what you expect. So like almost correct League of Legends, you know? And so that's why I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do these things. And maybe there's something that I'm missing there that they were afraid of. But yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about, right? Comp drops this, you now threaten the tower, Han, Sama, and VandeR can't really stop this.
Skeanz is just doing the Ocean Dragon.
And Milica's there because he used his teleport to stay relevant. He's now in a position to help the jungler out. Tower, 2 Drakes.
Yeah. I mean, so as much as perhaps there was a few failings from Rogue here, I do want to praise Vitality, right? Like,
I mean, this is great.
They played it well. They get the second dragon. We were slightly worried that they would miss out on that early 4 Drake win condition. Comp is huge. He's 1,500 gold ahead. Yep. And for a team that just beat Mad Lions, the other team in first place in the league, to now have this strong early game performance against Rogue, like, Vitality are currently just outside the playoff picture, but with picking up wins against Rogue, Mad Lions, they can put themselves back in there.
Yeah, they certainly can. And now what you do is you just kind of move your Caitlyn Morgana around the map. Yep. You know, they're like really strong. They already have their item upgrade, like the Infinity Edge is already done. And so you can move the Caitlyn mid, you can move the Caitlyn top, you can kind of put the Caitlyn wherever you want, honestly. And just start sieging onto these tier 1s while, because the plate's going to fall now, so those towers are so much easier for Vitality to take as well. And yeah.
Yeah.
Vitality's in a fantastic position right now. Even though the gold isn't massive, like the relative strength of Vitality's comp is very powerful right now.
It's where the gold sits as well, with comp being in such a strong position. Vitality looked to contest their own blue buff. Didn't really have any control over this top side of the map because they've been playing down towards the dragon instead. Finn trading here with Cabochard, and Finn will just charge his way away. Sunfire Cape is already finished on the Ornn. Cabochard going towards the tank set build here, instead of going for like the Blade of the Ruin King that we sometimes see. He's going Sunfire Cape himself, and will just be this front line for the Caitlyn and the Twisted Fate who will deal the damage.
I'm trying to think why Caitlyn's bot right now. Because I understand if you want to keep TF mid, because you want to use his ultimate to roam, right? Which is fine, but then you can just send the Caitlyn top. Yeah. And then you can threaten that tier 1 tower in top lane. The only reason why I would think this is if maybe they wanted to try and steal a blue buff, but I don't think that's spawning anytime soon. Okay, so they're going to push in bot. Let's just follow the bot lane right now. They're going to push in bot, they're going to move into mid. They can then look to threaten mid, because they do have numbers advantage, and the Ornn is forced to catch the wave bot, but of course he does have teleport.
And Summer also has cleanse, so even if you hit him with the binding, you're just getting that one summoner spell out from him. And they...
Oh, okay, so I think I understand. So I think the idea was you're actually just funneling 3 lanes of farm into comp. So first you send him bot, he catches 1 or 2 waves. You then send him mid. Unfortunately, he shares CS with Milica, so Milica's a little bit upset. But then he doesn't have to do that thing where he pushes, resets, goes top. He's actually been able to catch XP and farm all the way through. So this is very much about just funneling gold onto the Caitlyn. So that makes a little bit more sense. And now the Caitlyn is top lane, which is where we very much expected her to be. So, okay, yeah, fair play.
Yeah, Rift Herald's coming up in about a minute's time or so. Call of the Forge God here used in the mid lane. Labrov is in the vicinity, and Finn decides not to fire the Forge God back. Teleport coming in from Cabochard as he looks for a flank position, but Vitality, your carries aren't here. Comp's now going to TP in. Inspired goes one way, Cabochard goes the other way.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, observers.
Both are unstoppable, right?
Give us one of those.
Oh yeah, go on, observers. That's a great opportunity.
You know it.
Like maybe there's like some cool panoramic thing.
This is your moment for a Reddit thread right here.
You
flying past each other.
Yeah, and like, they can't do it now, right? But imagine you add some dramatic music as well.
We can do it.
True.
What dramatic music
our dramatic music. Oh, I see what you mean. If we get the clip, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I just got a ping. I think it's prepared.
I think so too. Okay. Quickly, before we see that, we'll quickly talk about something in the game so that when that comes up, we can go a little bit funny.
All right. So Vitality right now pushing in mid to set up for the Rift Herald. This will be their 4th objective of the game. So far they've had full control over the early game. They can use this to siege either onto top or onto mid, probably into the Corki lane because that's the most obnoxious wave clear tool. But then when they take this, it's just going to be a pretty easy objective, and I don't expect Rogue to actually contest them in this situation.
And Milica will get, as you say, the fourth neutral objective of the game. They have also got that turret. At the moment, no kills. Yep. And I just remember Vedius, when we pick and ban halfway through the game, you're like, level 6, we're going to see kills. Hasn't happened yet. Here we go. You ready? Get the music on.
Oh, we've got the lights as well, so here we go. Inspired. They threaten the dive onto the mid lane. Then the flank comes round from behind, and you can see dum 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 dum. Yeah, nothing.
I don't understand what the music was meant to be. You could have done
Come
Jaws.
on, Medic. It's Medi-Vedi.
What
it's
is
like it's supposed to be dramatic.
Okay, now I've got it. Play the replay again. No. Back on into the action. Inspired here, teaming up with VandeR. It's the Bear-Cat combination as they try and force Labrov out of the lane, but Comp's just going to come up here. He's once again been given the Rift Herald to make sure that he can get as much gold as possible. Also, faster recalls. People forget about this, but if your AD carry is resetting to get to multiple lanes...
That is very true, my friend. Yep. That is a great point. I never think about that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I've also... There's a name for Volibear Yuumi, which is from the Jungle Book, and I know the bear's called Blue, but I can't remember what the panther's called. And it's like the blue Shaka Khan combo.
I know what you're talking about, but I cannot remember.
You do this, and I'm going to remember.
I haven't seen the Jungle Book in years, dude.
Yep.
Anyway.
Bagheera. It's the blue Bagheera.
Oh.
That's actually quite a nice name.
Bagheera. Yeah, anyway, Drake is going to go down. So I am surprised Vitality didn't set up for this one. I think that they could have actually used the Rift Herald mid as a means of threatening that objective and then contesting, but probably because they had Milica top and they wanted to threaten that tower, they just traded objectives.
Yeah.
That concerns me a little bit because I feel like Vitality had really good momentum going, and the fact that they conceded that third Drake kind of alleviates a lot of pressure. But Hansama forced to use his flash. We'll check out the ulti.
Pops the curtain call. Rift Herald coming in, but Hansama's not in a good spot. The flank is on from Vitality. Hansama still surviving. First blood goes down 19 minutes into the game. 6 minutes slower than any other first blood this split. Skeanz gets Valkyried off as well. The shutdown comes in. 2 kills over to Rogue. Milica will use the Destiny to get away. The binding still connects here, but without comp, you really think Vitality should just disengage? Call of the Portugal's going to try and keep them around, and that round was going in entirely the wrong direction.
Went wide slightly, but at the end of the day, Rogue come out ahead in kills after losing their mid-tier 1. So let's have a look back to where all this started. Hansama and VandeR in a 2 versus 2, not recognizing... Well, I think he should be aware that the Trundle is doing... The Raptors are at the very least on the top side of the camp right now. He's playing... He's hovering around the bot river because he knows that's where he's safest, while also being in a position to clear out the wave as fast as possible. This alleviates some pressure on the tower and makes it hard for Vitality to siege while also getting some good poke off. This is where he oversteps a little. Well, no, his positioning is still fine right here. This is where I think he gets very aggressive. Like, a good heal, and he's thinking, actually, this is a favorable trade for me. But then he walks into melee range of Cabochard, so he's forced to use his flash and the heal as well. He then throws the ultimate out, and he forgets that top side of the map completely belongs to Vitality, so they can get this flank off. But Comp has actually taken so much damage from Hansama initially that Inspired can actually just flash in and dive on top of him. And this is where Vitality now realize that they've overcommitted because the response from Rogue is so fast and quick. Good teleport there from Larssen, and they end up coming out ahead in the kills.
Said it before, you can never count Rogue out of a game, and that was a pretty easy way for them to get back on into this one. Only 500 gold, the difference between these two teams. We do have about a 1-item lead for Comp right now. Hansama sitting at the Zeal Infinity Edge, whereas there's Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon, and a Cloak of Agility on Comp. But as soon as Finn gets to level 14, he can make that Infinity Edge an Infinity +1 edge, so that gives back some of that deficit that the Jhin has.
That's true. That's very, very true. Of course, the Trinity Force can also be upgraded as well. So a lot of things for Finn to have his smithery do. Moving on. So Vitality still in a very comfortable position, but you've got to keep an eye on Milica right now because a lot of Rogue members are hovering around. Of course, you will spot out that this ward is being cleared. Ooh, it looks like Vitality want to go on the aggressive here.
I quite like this from Vitality, trying to step up, trying to step forward. They've cleared out so many of these turrets that they can get these wards in towards the Rogue base and in towards the Rogue jungle.
That's 3 pushed waves to it.
Yeah.
Ooh, are they going to do a cheeky Baron?
I think there was a ward in the pit. It's
yeah, they cleared
probably
them.
been cleared now, yeah.
So they push out this wave.
Can you do it without comp? I think that's the big thing, because if comp can stay...
No. You need comp. That's the only way you could do it.
Okay. But right now, they're trying to just push him mid. Summer's going to take an ace in the hole. The Destiny from Milica, that is brave! There was no Yuumi on him. He didn't get there in time, and Milica with the Black Shield is going to be able to survive on the back line. Call of the Forge God coming in. Finn has to flash the wall. Cabochard uses the showstopper, but he is stopped by the wall. Over the wall, though, Comp is doing a huge amount of work. Headshot after headshot raining down, and Vitality. We both thought they'd overstep, but that was beautiful.
Really good dive coming out from Vitality there. The Black Shield proved extremely valuable there for Milica as he was just diving in behind the tower. Rogue, I feel like that they responded quickly, but they just couldn't quite get that execution down. And when we do get a look at that replay, I want to keep track of what Comp does as well, because I think he lands some crucial traps over the wall. So here we say, good chunk coming out onto Summer. The combo comes through. It is a red card, and that last auto comes through, though that's enough. The smite doesn't slow Milica because he has the Black Shield. Really good interrupt here from Cabochard, and the Dark Binding gets Milica to safety. But then Cabochard recognizes, okay, I'm in trouble. Finn flashed over the wall. The knockup should come through here. And then you can see a trap lands onto Finn as well, preventing any further follow-up. And then Cabochard is able to run to safety, so Vitality lose absolutely no one. And they're able to get themselves a quick kill.
I love the subjugate from Skeanz onto Finn as well, right? Like, he's the obvious target to use it on, but just having a Caitlyn there, when you've got all of those reduced resistances, makes it so good for Vitality. And now, quietly, Vitality have extended that gold lead just a little bit to 1,000, but also quietly, Milica is becoming very strong.
Well, so is Larssen.
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah,
you're right. As well, but you're definitely right.
Almost Rabadon's Lichbane, 10 stack Rod of Ages. Larssen, we have seen him carry his team in the past. We've seen him have some really strong late game team fights. But Vitality seem to be the ones finding the picks right now.
Well, both teams even on kills. Cabochard looking for a flank. Look, he's speedy.
He is.
The Cloud Soul map proving to be valuable here for Cabo as he looks at that flank inspired. Getting some good flank wards here. I like this. But right now, Vitality have control over the river. Look at this line of traps from Vitality. Finn has to be the one to face check here. And I like his use of the Bellows Breath to be able to mitigate some of that.
Rogue consistently, the Split have been a team that play very well around vision, and that's what they're trying to do here. Cabochard doesn't know that he's on a ward, doesn't know that there's a ward in that bush. Milica's going to try and push out mid. The Destiny used just to spot out where Rogue are. 3,000 HP.
Comp's in danger.
The call of the Forge God. You say Comp's in danger, but he's got the Black Shield and Inspire's the one who has to jump away. The curtain call coming out as well with Cabochard there to block the final shot. Now, Comp, do you re-step? Do you go forward? Comp can look to hit this. Corki secures it. Larssen gets the Dragon. 2 for 2 on the scoreboard now.
So a bit of a hectic back and forth there between the two teams, but Rogue come out ahead in the Dragon skirmish without losing any member. Crucially, Comp taking so much damage there is really what made this fight so much harder for Vitality, because both Labrov and Skeanz were forced, or Cabochard rather, were forced to back off the Drake in order to body block for Comp to make sure that he was safe. So bit of a misstep there from Comp, and you can see that Milica's response was to try and push down mid and trade that Drake for a mid tier 2, but that mid tier 2, I'm sure our observers can highlight, yeah, you can see it's on like, you can blow that thing over, but it still stands, and that's ultimately what matters. So Rogue end up coming out the benefactors after that trade, and you know, you mentioned it, Medic. Ornn items now coming through for Jhin. The 3 items now done for Larssen. Like we talked about, some of the scaling late game power that this Rogue comp has. You can definitely see that I feel like fights are just going to get harder now for Vitality every time they try to force.
And we've seen every time Vitality are finding kills, it's picks, right? It was, they found Summer without the Yuumi on top of him behind a turret, and they were able to dive onto him. In these prolonged team fights, they are struggling just a tad to get the damage down, to get the damage to stick. But now with the Storm Razor complete, we'll see if Comp can well and truly come online. I just want to re-impress how important these games are for Vitality. Rogue, they win this, they're in top 2. That's great. It's great for them on championship points as well. It means they're more likely to get that automatic seed into Worlds when it comes to playoffs. But Vitality, if they lose here, they go down to 7.1% of scenarios, out of all the remaining scenarios, that they make it into playoffs. If they win, it's 30%. It's a third of all scenarios. So a win here would be so important for this team.
Yep. It would also, Rogue want to secure those first, second place spots, you know, and a loss here definitely makes that whole situation a little bit scarier for them. Of course, they have still locked playoffs.
Yeah.
Rogue will be there. I think also they're guaranteed
top 3.
Yeah, at a minimum. So they're sitting pretty happy.
So I'll actually say, if action happens, distract me from it, because it's slightly complex, but Rogue actually need top 2 more than Mad Lions do.
Yes.
Because Rogue have less championship points from Spring, And what Rogue really need is G2 to either come third and then come first, or G2 not to be third. Because G2 overtake Rogue on championship points because of how many points G2 got in Spring. We'll explain it more in playoffs checkup segments if you haven't understood that, but suffice to say, Rogue really want top 2, and they don't want G2 to do well.
Yeah, so there's a lot on the line for Rogue, and again, like the main point we're trying to get at is because points from Spring influence your playoff seeding in summer playoffs. So you have to be in playoffs first, and then depending on how many points you got in Spring will influence all that. And you know, that's another kettle of fish on top of...
You know what you could say?
What?
If you don't make playoffs.
You don't make worlds, yes, I am aware. Anyway, kind of focusing back in on the game. Next Drake is going to be spawning in about 1 minute and 45 seconds. The Baron is, of course, up. Both teams pretty even, but I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident in Rogue's draft at this point in the game. Larssen level 16. He's a very strong Corki. Milica is split pushing, will secure himself another tower, but now Rogue looking to get that collapse. Of course, the Twisted Fate ultimate can just take him to safety. Oh, Hansama!
Hansama almost caught out. The face breaker has to be flashed away from. Oh, he's going in. Milica was on a ward, though he didn't realize. Hansama with the cleanse gets away, and Milica goes down. Larssen's now going to open up. Hansama will fall, though, with the showstopper going in from Cabochard. He was able to get one. It's double for Larssen, though. And now it's all... Oh, he missed. He was bound. He was bound. Comp goes in. The final chapter's not going to connect, and Comp might just back away from this one because Larssen has a Yuumi on his shoulder. And it's a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of Rogue.
Yeah, but that's a crucial mistake from Milica that has now put Vitality in a very difficult position. Rogue should be able to secure the Baron off the back of this. They still have their jungler available. Larsen's going to base, TP back in, spend some of that gold that he picked up.
He's getting the package as well.
Yes, he is, and only Comp and Skeanz are left alive. Level 12 to level 13 is the junglers, but Larssen can likely just zone them off single-handedly. Let's see how Vitality handle this.
I think without the package, this could have been a lot better for Vitality, because they could have stood at arm's length, they could have used the Caitlyn's rage, but because Larssen could just jump in straight away...
Cabo has TP,
makes it a lot
so
harder.
does Milica.
Milica's going to TP in first. There's only 2,000 HP on that, though. You've got to fight it right now. He goes in, he's stolen it! Vitality, that could be something that secures your spot in playoffs. Larssen's trying to jump onto Comp, but he can't get the damage down, and Comp shuts him down. Goodbye. Curtain Call opening up, but Skeanz is on the back of the pit right now. In fact, he's already dead. It was Inspired who had to jump out. Finn goes down, and Vitality and Skeanz. What a moment.
Rogue and having their Barons stolen away from them. Like, what is going on? This could be huge for Vitality. Now, let's have a look back at how this fight all kicks off. Because, again, Vitality recognizes, hey, we can get a pretty good fight here. Hansama's out of position. He's forced to flash. As we roll the rest of this play out, we can see Milica uses his ultimate in, comes in on the back line, but he's right on top of a ward, and he gets bursted out. He gets pretty good damage down onto Hansama, and Cabochard in his awkward position does what he can, but you know, we see this, and then when we jump forward over towards the actual Baron, let's get a slow-mo. Let's get an exact see of how this Baron comes down. Medica have just the tool for the job.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
So,
here we go. 2,000 HP on it.
Enhance. We're going to look closer at the Baron.
CSI LEC. Oh, frame by frame.
And it's dead. Smited away. 635 HP. 635. Thank you for that, observers.
And then you see the fight afterwards. You know, Skeanz in the back of the pit doing what he can. Inspired and Finn are then stuck there. So Finn dies because he didn't have flash. And now Vitality are pushing in the mid lane with 4 players. Cabochard's down towards the bottom lane. And they have this 3,000 gold lead. They have 4 minutes on a Cloud Soul, which isn't the biggest and best soul in the world, but will still help them. And they might be sort of grasping their way back into playoffs here, Vedius. I think they were.
I mean, like
none of us put them in our predictions. No one thought Vitality.
But it sums up like a whole split pretty well, which is like, you know, you'd think we'd be surprised at this point, but this happens a lot in the LEC.
I will say, when I was making my segment, I was like, you know what I can rely on? Rogue and Matt are likely to win. Fine, I'll talk about them winning. That will be okay. Here we go. Vitality trying to prove us all wrong right now, Vedius, as they siege in here. Larssen takes a bit of damage. Comp's going to get rooted in place as Cabochard's just acting as that bodyguard, acting as that middleman, dodging between the bottom and the middle lanes. But Comp once again got chunked out. He does have teleport. He's now got a Bloodthirster. He's going to TP back into the lane. I like this. You've got 30 seconds left on this Baron buff. You want to break in to that inhibitor line. You want to get into the base of Rogue, because otherwise you're relying again on a steal or a really good Baron setup, which you haven't shown us so far this game, Vitality.
Well, Vitality looking pretty comfortable right now. With the Caitlyn, their siege is very strong. Milica splitting in the mid lane as well. Here comes the engage from Rogue.
Call of the Forge God used. Milica's trying to stun up Finn, but the Ram will come back. Comp, black shielded. Can dodge out a lot of this damage. Redemption used as well to heal up Vitality, and Comp is the one to eat up the final curtain core. 2 inhibitor towers down. Comp is stepping forward now. We see the hyper carry Caitlyn, the late game Caitlyn. 4 items complete. And Rogue, where you got to get the damage down. Comp once again black shielded. Skeanz eats up the deadly flourish. Milica's going to get the mid lane inhib. That's 1. Will Vitality step up for 2? Super Minion's going to be about 30 seconds before they get in towards that mid lane. They're on their way. You can see the first one barreling down. Cabo going in with the base breaker. The Haymaker will shield him up, but Comp isn't there to do the damage yet. Labrov standing on that backline, inspired, pillared away. Larssen stepping forward. Comp tries to match him, but loses out because of the zoomies from Yuumis. VandeR's healing coming up trumps there, and I love this adaptation on his build path as well. Athene's into Mikhail's. Usually you don't see 2 of those Chalice of Harmony items together, but knowing that you need that extra little bit of safety for either the Corki or for the Jhin. This is good itemization from VandeR.
But Rogue's base is in tatters right now. They were in a great position. They punished Vitality extremely well for an overforced engage, and that Baron should have been theirs.
Yep.
Now they find themselves at a 5k gold deficit. Drake is going to be spawning in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and if they don't secure that, that's going to be Cloud Soul for Vitality. The additional movement speed with this comp, extremely valuable, especially on things like the Twisted Fate, who's going to be roaming from lane to lane, constantly threatening these towers. They've got so many items completed as well. Like, yeah, what a strange game, Medic. What a strange game. Like, it was surprisingly slow in the early game. You can credit a lot of that to Rogue. Arguably reading a lot of what Vitality wanted to do, and a lot of respect was shown from Rogue because Vitality had good control over the vast majority of early game objectives. But now we're in a position where the game was decided by a stolen Baron. And now we're kind of looking at, can Rogue find a miracle fight to be able to reclaim some control back in this game?
And you did say, like, Rogue's composition is well and truly online now. Like, they are very strong. This Corki with the Trinity Fusion, Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon, Mirror Mana, all it's stacked up. You've got a 4-item Jhin as well with the Last Whisper being built up. He's got an Infinity +1 Edge. Rogue are strong. It's just whether they are strong enough to work their way through the Vitality line before Vitality are able to get a couple of headshots down.
The interesting thing is, regardless of how strong you are, right now, as you can see, it's difficult to access parts of the map because they don't belong to you. When you lose this much of your base, you lose a lot of control over the map, and so Vitality are doing a great job of just keeping the waves pushed, and you can see now Rogue trying to force their way out. They're forcing their way into this mid lane so they have some semblance of control and an area that they can check. But now look at the Fog of Laure. Finn has to face check this, and he's terrified. He knows that if he does, he's going to die. They do have some information on the Dragon Pit, and here we go. He loses half his health.
Binding lands on Finn. Larssen ate a trap as well. The ace in the hole coming out. Larssen's down to half HP. Stormbringer used, and already Summer is dead. Yuumi not attached to him. Can't provide the shielding. Inspired forced away. Cabochard misses the base breaker, but there's the Destiny. And the bear goes goodbye. Vitality find 2 kills, and they're looking for more as Milica flashes forward. Finn flashes away, but that gold card will follow you to the end of your days. He does manage to get back into the base, and Vitality might just be looking for the win. Larssen oversteps. It's not often you've said that the binding gets flashed away from, but Vitality are pushing in for the win.
They certainly are, Medic. They are 5 people strong right now, and they have their eyes set on the Nexus. A big win, and their chance of playoffs still alive.
Call of the Forge God coming out, but that TP is going to keep the Super Minion alive. First Nexus tower's down. Cabochard trying to isolate Larssen on the backline, but already 1 kill goes down for Rogue. They've killed Labrov, and Vitality don't have a minion wave to deal with. They'll take the inhibitor, they'll back off, they'll get this Cloud Drake.
Props to Larssen, he played that well.
TPing behind them, Vedi. They're TPing behind them. This could be it. Rogue trying to pull. They're trying to pull the. Okay, no.
Finn has no ulti. He has no ultimate. He is in fact just using his teleport.
I think we should have a rule in the LEC where you can't use TP unless you're going to fight.
I mean, I like that rule, but seems like Vitality didn't give him that choice. Cloud Soul will now belong to them. Let's have a look back at this fight. And we talk so much about it, right? Regardless of the itemization, map state is just unfavorable for Rogue. So they have to face check this, and I think Vitality played this really well. Utilizing Fog to deny Rogue information meant that Rogue kept just walking into Vitality without knowing what was going on, and you can see they just kept chipping them away one at a time, where they could eventually turn this into such a massively one-team fight. Milica using his ultimate to come in and get that collapse down onto the Volibear means that Vitality get a big team fight win. I thought this was going to be the end of the game, but Larssen, he clears the way very well. You can see here just burning everything to delete the minions as quickly as possible. TP buys some time, but it's, yeah, unfortunately for Vitality, it's not quite enough. Larssen playing that really well with the Yuumi on top of him. And so they end up holding the line for now.
Just about holding on to the game. Vitality going to clear out vision around the bound. The Scuttle Crab was taken by Rogue, which gives them just that little bit more awareness. And one thing we haven't really talked about a huge amount is the importance for Vitality to get ahead in the standings over their opponents. Not just because you want to be ahead, because if you're ahead, you then win out on any tiebreakers, but because they have bad head-to-heads against all the teams around them. As they look for a fight once again. TP is going to be used. Yeah, Vitality, if they tie with people at the end of the split, they go out on the bottom side of that. Like, they have a 0-2 head-to-head versus Excel, 0-2 versus Fnatic, they're 0-1 versus Misfits. The only guys they have a positive head-to-head versus is Origin. So Vitality really want to be ahead on win-loss, and they're looking to find another fight to make that so. Cabochard rooted up, the Call of Forge God came down, but Comp once again black shielded. Binding's going to be used, Stormbringer negates. I remember when a binding used to actually make you stuck in place. I remember the good old days. 2.5 minutes, you were stuck there from that one binding.
Yeah, for 7 whole years, you were stuck in that one binding.
I've been stuck in the binding since I started playing League of Legends.
Exactly, but no bindings today. Inspired doing what he can to threaten the steal, but there's no blast cone, there's no flash. Vitality is slowly chipping this away. 50% HP now on the Baron. Good binding does in fact land.
Countercall's going to come out, Inspired on his way towards the pit, but he's got no flash, and the showstopper will take him away from it. Skeanz secures the smite, and now the fight might really begin. Cabochard going to flash away, he's rooted. Comp kind of pseudo front line here as Skeanz is going to escort him to safety. That's Baron for Vitality without losing a man.
Well, what more could Vitality want? Like, they've got it all. They now have the perfect sieging tools. They don't need the Elder Medic. They don't need the Elder. Do not point at that. I still remember that SK versus Vitality game. Yeah, like, Vitality have everything they need to end the game. Like, a lot of this will just come down to Larssen. If Larssen can find, like, an amazing play, then maybe Rogue can somehow turn this around. But things are looking slim right now, and Vitality just shaking up the standings. And there are many teams that are very scared right now, because this win for Vitality puts so much pressure on pretty much everyone else still fighting for that playoff spot.
It really does, and it's not just teams around Vitality, but it's teams just above Vitality as well. You look at G2, they're sitting at 8-7. You look at SK, they're sitting at 8-7. Vitality winning here brings that bottom side of the playoff picture into so much more contest. And as we say every single time, every game counts here. Vedius going to move down to like 16,384 combinations, something along those lines, after this game. Different scenarios, but it's just every game is so important for these teams. It's so hard to predict what's going to happen in the LEC as Vitality look to push in the top lane inhib. Comp black shielded, ace in the hole is going to come out, Larssen down to half HP. That's a headshot and an ace in the hole combination, and now Comp with the Maw and the Bloodthirster. It's going to be very difficult to kill.
Yes, correct. You can also see Twisted Fate pushing in bot lane as well. He has the ultimate to gain some information. This is the last-ditch fight, I feel, for Rogue. They're going to have to go for something soon.
Finn's all by himself over here. He has got Call of the Forge God to try and influence the top lane, but that inhibitor in the mid lane is now down, and top lane will be the next target. Super Minions not yet funneling their way into the base. Vitality will want all 3 inhibs. Baron buff available for another minute. Here's the Call of the Forge God.
Good interrupt there from the pillar. Skeanz having a fantastic game with the steal. And now they have the right set on the Nexus, taking their time. Still 45 seconds left on the Baron. They're waiting for the minion waves to arrive. Problem is, minion waves aren't quite synced up, so Larssen just kind of clearing them one at a time right now.
Still can't believe Vitality could beat Rogue and Mad Lions in 2 games. Larssen forced away down towards the bottom side, and he's dead, shut down by Comp. Comp, however, has died, but can Hans Summer survive through the onslaught that is Vitality? Comp gets a double. Hans Summer falls to Milica. Labrov is going to keep Finn busy while the rest of Vitality look for their ticket to playoffs. This win does not secure it, but it increases their chances monumentally. An impressive performance by Vitality.
A massive win for Vitality, and while Rogue did get Comp in the end, the damage is already done. Comp took down 2 members of Rogue before he fell. And yeah, it was a slow game, it was a drawn-out game, but you can't complain, because that's what Vitality needed. They needed the win, and that just sets us up beautifully for our Super Week, everyone at home. because you can expect more surprises, more upsets, more of all of this over the next 3 days.
Here's the thing. I don't know what an upset is anymore, right? Like,
He's the AD carry player for Origin.
You can vote for your key player of the game at LEC on Twitter. Skeanz, Milica, and Comp are your options. All of them really good options. I think we all know who you're going to vote for, but soon we'll have another battle in the race for playoffs as Exile Esports and Origin hit the rift.
I feel like you're going to say...
Charged up.
Hello, everybody. Let the game begin.
Welcome back to this Super Week of the LEC, and Super Week indeed with a lot of surprises as Vitality keep on winning against top teams. Again, I have Duke with me here. Maybe he can give us a little more about this game. Hi, Duke.
Hello.
How did you guys do it? I mean, first question, are you happy about this victory? I hope you are.
Yeah, of course I am. Of course I am. But how did we do it? I mean, we were really confident going into last week already. I think we improved a lot in the past 2 weeks. We finally kind of found ourselves after this really hard year. We were really confident going into G2 already, but things didn't go as planned, and we were facing a really in shape Caps. But confident going into Mad, confident going into Rogue. So yeah, scrims are going well, and I can't wait for playoffs.
You know what? I keep on hearing about this confidence you guys have. So would you be able to tell me when you guys regained confidence and how you managed to keep it? Because we talked about it. Inconsistency and vitality has been one of the big words this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's more when we lost it, right? We lost it in the 1st of January, in a sense, and this whole year was a climb back to find ourselves again. I think a player like Skeanz really highlighted this season where he had a rough spring split, and what we did was we tried to help him find his confidence back, and then second half of this split he came back with way more confidence, but we were still lagging behind, lagging a split behind, lagging half a summer together, and slowly but surely we were working on our fundamentals, not giving up, and at some point it clicked. I think we are not there yet, but I think we are way better than what we were 3 weeks ago. And we started playing way more aggressive also, and way more aggressive comps too. And scrim after scrim, we found our confidence back,
Yeah, you're not there yet, but still, I mean, you had to catch up. That's what you told me at least a couple of times during this split here. And talking with Skeanz and about Skeanz, I mean, we had an interview with him before the game. He's shy, as you know it, but I want to know, now I feel like we're seeing the Skeanz I got to know in the LFL, in the French League, and I want to know, how did he get there? How was it working with him and getting him LEC ready?
And it was a long way, because Skeanz has always been an insanely talented player. I think he had a lot to learn to adapt to the top level, and to also be able to play at his full potential. So, I mean, as I told you, it was a long process first, and that was not easy due to spring split, but we thought that the best for him was to find his confidence back in the academy and wait for him to be ready, but we were not giving up on him. And also, I think even if spring split was really rough, I think he was able to learn everything that we were trying to teach. Like all the players, I think, kind of had the knowledge, but didn't have the confidence and the chemistry back in the days. And I think Skeanz stepped up a lot in terms of knowledge, and then in confidence in Summer Split. And there you go. Now you have him, I would say, at full form.
Full form, full potential, and I mean, all the Vitality players seem to have found their space within the team right now, and playoff is still an option, it's still possible for you guys. How do you see things going for the remaining 2 matches?
I mean, I wouldn't say we are confident, because due to this year, like, and how the beginning of the summer split went, how we changed the team, because we thought that was the best going forward to reach our peak. We are still in a tough spot in the standings. We lost games that we should have never lost. Fortunately, we won the hard ones, so that's good for us. But so we are still alive. But we are really optimistic. We are really confident in ourselves, and we are definitely not afraid of Schalke and Misfits.
It is still not too late for you guys. Thank you very much, Duke, for the interview, and good luck for the rest of the week, rather.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a break, and we'll come back for Game 2, OG versus XL. Stay tuned.